If you thought you have seen stupid people, think twice, because today I will show you some really, really stupid people. Hello everyone, it's Mr. Troll delivering an update. I have been informed that there exists this video where Dr. Mike, a professional doctor with a YouTube channel, debates a bunch of anti-vaxxers, and unfortunately this video was produced by Jubilee, and Jubilee are crazy about copyright, so perhaps I will have to cut out all the clips I intend to show here. But anyways, I think this is a good concept. I think we can learn a lot about the pros and cons of vaccines with a video like this. Unfortunately, the guests featured in this video happen to be brain-dead idiots.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
Like even someone like Mr. Troll, who does not have any doctor's certificate and never will because of low grades in high school, can still easily understand why the arguments those idiots make are trash. You probably think it can't be that bad, so allow me to show you what I mean.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Mike.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. I want to say first that I'm a mother of 6 children. My oldest 2 children do have vaccines. My 3rd child, he got a vaccine that the doctor said were safe that caused him brain issues for the rest of his life, and he has arrested hydrocephalus. I want to continue to say my youngest 3 children have no vaccines at all. They're perfectly fine.
One eternity later.
Just a healthy diet, keeping them away from toxic foods, making sure their hygiene is good. Did you know that COVID has a patent and natural illnesses can't have patents? Did you know that every illness dated back to polio has a patent? The only thing that doesn't have a patent is the common cold. Did you know that Fauci funded medical schools to try to make the vaccine make COVID more deadly? Vaccine immunity is not really a thing because they cannot guarantee it makes anybody immune. There's more side effects from getting a vaccine.
Is this an informative debate or a rap battle? I get it. Vaccines have side effects. You have made your point. Now let the doctor speak. Well, then the doctor speaks and this happens.
And when you brought up the subject of autism, I think it's an important subject, and it's a subject that's been largely debunked by the entire world community.
Not at all. I've seen studies that say otherwise, doctor.
Show me where you got that information.
So I don't know if you're going off Rockefeller's medicine or you going off of holistic medicine as well. As a scientific mind, you're supposed to observe everybody's hypothesis, not just Rockefeller's medical schools. And that's why I feel like you've got most of your knowledge from, and maybe you should branch out into holistic medicine because vaccines have never been the answer. They were created to separate us from spirituality and consciousness. If you look at the ingredients, there's nothing healthy in vaccines. Formaldehyde, all types of stuff. So none of that prevents.
Hey, I said show me where you got that information! No? Do these people not understand how to fact-check sources? We learned this in middle school.
The prevention from vaccines comes from prevention of death and serious illness. And we've seen that when you study that, not just in the US by the Rockefeller system that you describe, one of the largest studies in the world surrounding vaccines and autism in children came from Denmark with over 500,000 children. That is not a US system, that is not a capitalist system, and they found that there is no pattern.
That's not
so
true.
I'm trying to branch out as much as possible.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Okay.
Please
Thank you so
return to
much.
your seat.
You idiots! Why did you vote him out? He was making some good points. But later, people start claiming vaccines have led to people dying, and thus vaccines are not safe.
If someone shares a let's do it this way. I think this is a very visual and easy way to understand it. If there are 2 streets to cross to get to the other side of the road, and I've run 1 million people through this trial, and I saw that the sidewalk on the right is much safer than the sidewalk on the left, or the street on the left. And someone starts spreading misinformation that the right sidewalk is actually so deadly, and they saw someone die and it was brutal, and they make it very powerful, and they start convincing people to cross on the more dangerous sidewalk. I would say that they're being a villain by telling people to go on the other side of the sidewalk, and they're also a victim because they may have been misled by someone who shared a very scary story.
Understood. So what would be an example of the misinformation that you're referring to?
Like that vaccines cause autism.
So they don't cause autism, you're saying?
Correct.
At all?
Correct.
Well, that's news to me. Okay, what about death? Doesn't the vaccine save lives?
Correct. It lowers the death rate. It doesn't prevent it 100%
Okay, so why are people dying?
because it's not 100%.
But reality is, majority of the people who were dying were vaccinated people.
Correct, because most people were vaccinated.
The misinformation, autism, that's one I have to look into. Is there anything else?
In terms of what's bad misinformation, I've heard people say things like there's no such thing as a safe vaccine. I think that's misinformation.
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return
Thank
to
you.
your seat.
Appreciate it.
Bro, what the Sigma was this? Here's basically what happened. Dr. Mike explained that regardless of what you choose, there's always a risk of you dying, so you may as well choose wherever the risk is smaller. But then this guy gets salty because there's still a risk. Bro, you realize that nothing in this world is 100% safe. This is not how it works. For the love of God, head back to elementary school. Like, what is this? Oh, condoms don't guarantee 100% prevention of pregnancy, so I might as well not use them and increase the risks of unwanted pregnancy. Like, dude, do you hear yourself? Anyways, Dr. Mike later responded to this whole thing. He made a video, and the fact that this video had to be made in the first place is pretty sad.
In Japan, they don't start their vaccine schedule, I believe, until 2 years old. Autism is almost non-existent.
So they don't cause autism, you're saying?
Correct.
At all?
Correct.
Well, that's news to me.
You can't have a discussion about vaccines without the topic of autism coming up. And there is some truth to the fact that autism rates have gone up. And people have tied that to the fact that children get more shots than they did in the past. However, this has been very firmly established as correlation. And again, I'm going to show you this image because correlation does not equal causation.
The fact that the people that were debating Dr. Mike seem to not understand correlation and causation makes me lose hope for humanity.
There was one thing, though, that the skeptics in the room said that got me pretty frustrated. They started saying that those who were accused of spreading misinformation, like the disinformation dozen, as quoted by one of the major newspaper outlets, were actually the divine dozen.
People say the disinformation dozen. I say the divine information dozen because they were kind of prophets when you look at it. If you look back at their old claims, a lot of things that they said came true.
If a broken clock says it's 3:15, when in fact it's 12:15, I'm not gonna give that clock credit when it turns 3:15. I want it to tell me the accurate time when I ask it, not for it to end up turning out to be true. And the reason why this is important is because when you ask someone for an answer in the scientific community, they should answer you not based on what might happen in the future or their subjective thoughts on what might happen in the future. They should look at the data that exists now and make a decision based off that data. Those individuals who were accused of spreading misinformation made such a wide variety of claims that some of them ended up turning out to be true. But that doesn't mean we should in fact then begin to trust them.
Observe how he says some of them ended up being true. It's like if you throw a dart an infinite amount of times, then some of the times you will hit the target, but that doesn't mean you're good at throwing darts. Those divine prophets were only right by accident, and I bet they will be wrong the next time, and this guy will ruin his life because he believed in all their claims.
There was also some awkward moments of people saying if I had faith that the people creating these vaccines were acting in good faith. But to me, that's interesting because when you call an Uber driver or you get a food delivery, you don't spend that much time thinking, are they acting in good faith? And both of those times, you're putting your life on the line. So I think you hope in a society that we live in that everyone's acting in good faith.
This is what I mean. People are idiots. They say there is no such thing as a stupid question. But if you ask, how should I know if this specific force in society and nothing else is in good faith? Then you're pretty stupid. However, Dr. Mike also made a tweet saying, I really just wanted us to agree on something, even if it meant that we would never agree on anything. And here's the specific clip he is talking about.
Villains when some of the top doctors, some of the doctors that help create PCR tests, some of the doctors that have worked on vaccines have came out and said they're unsafe and we should not give this to our family and friends. How is it that he's a villain? How are we a villain if some of these vaccine creators and scientists are the ones saying we should not get it?
Is there anything I could say today that would change your mind?
I'm just asking your opinion.
I'm asking you a question.
Probably not, because I actually read and study.
You're talking to a licensed professional doctor, and yet you think you know more than him? Who do you think you are? What are your certificates? Now about this tweet. It seems so innocent and a very mature way to handle a situation like this. But I believe deep down Dr. Mike is dying on the inside and tries to maintain some kind of poker face with a tweet like this. Then he also says, I don't really get frustrated because the topic is complex, emotional and scary. With as much fear-mongering out there, I just wanted to share what I do and don't know. I hope that came through. Like I said in the beginning, the concept here is good. The problem is just that when a doctor gets to debate a bunch of 5-year-olds, then no one learns anything. The fear-mongering will still be out there. If you don't believe me, there exists this tweet of someone who clearly has not learned anything. It's so scary that doctors aren't taught nutrition. Like, how can you take their advice seriously when they live such unhealthy personal lives? What? Where did you even get the idea that Dr. Mike lives an unhealthy personal life? Are you stalking him or something? Did you dox him? I can't. Jubilee, next time please hire people that aren't retarded.